Welcome. We are so excited to be here to talk to you about exploring MHSEL prep and specifically how to start an esports club for middle level. I am Nina Davis. I'm the director of MHSEL prep, which is our middle level league here in Michigan under the umbrella of MASSP, Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals, where I also serve as an associate director of middle level and member services.
And I'm Joe Navarro. I'm an operations manager here at PlayFi Esports. We're going to be helping y'all with a lot of the tournament operations, including running competition on our platform, LeagueSpot.
And just to talk about our partnership a little bit, MASSP has partnered with PlayFly Esports to form the MHSEL Prep program, which is our middle level esports program. So we are just thrilled with this partnership and the program that we're able to offer you as part of this partnership. So MHSEL Prep started in the fall of 2023. We were able to kick off our preseason with 14 middle schools across Michigan. We had schools in the upper and lower peninsula, schools from west to east Michigan, schools that represented urban, suburban, and rural settings, and Title I and non-Title I schools. So say all this to say any type of school can participate in esports. So no matter the region, the location, wherever you're at, we've seen our esports program be successful. So today we're going to take you through a little bit of our gaming strategy today, and we're going to talk about first and foremost why middle level esports. We're going to give you some data on why you should explore middle level esports. We're going to talk about the startup consideration and basic things that you'll need to get started. We're going to talk a little bit about recruitment. We know we don't need a lot to recruit students, but specifically recruiting advisors, your coaches, maybe even getting your parents on board. We're going to give you some resources and just talk about a glimpse of the resources that are offered to assist esports leaders. We're going to talk about gaming, the actual games, the part that the students are coming for. And then we're going to just project and talk a little bit about the future and where we hope our program will go over the next few years. So first and foremost, why middle level esports? We found in our spring pilot program that we did even before partnering with PlayFly that over 60% of our students in that program had never participated in any other school sport or activity. So now that we have this robust partnership and we're able to offer, such a great product, we've seen that number continue to soar. And we're seeing students participating in esports who have never participated in anything in their schools before. So they're finding their thing. They're finding what they're able or how they're able to connect with their schools. And that's so exciting for us. And we want to continue seeing that number grow because we want students to be connected in their schools. We know students are already on video games. They're playing video games, and those are more recreational, more for their personal enjoyment, and they're very individual focused. If we can get students from video games to esports, it becomes more competitive, it's structured, and it's team-based. So we now have students competing with others in schools, doing things that they were already doing at home alone, but now they feel a part of something. They're a part of a team, they're a part of something that's structured, and they're actually gaining skills that they can translate into other areas.
And with those skills and that structure, that's going to give them an opportunity to strive for collegiate scholarships. It may feel like it's a little bit early to begin planning for that, but hey, free money is free money, and video games through esports provide a very real and growing opportunity for these students to pursue a higher level education. 2/3 of programs across the board are now able to offer esports scholarships, with nearly 20% of those programs offering full rides in some capacity. So this is a growing opportunity, and this is just the report from 2022. We're going to see the 2023 report come out from the Esports Foundry early next year, and that's going to confirm what we're already seeing, that esports is very real. It's very it's going to be here to stay, and the opportunities are just continuing to grow. So please support it at the middle level so that these students can take advantage of that and pursue whatever degree they wish.
Absolutely. We know this global game market is going to continue to grow revenues. As of 21, this is an older figure, but it was a $180 billion industry, like billions with a B. This is huge, and this is going to continue to grow. So let's get our students started early on in middle schools, getting those skills they need to compete, on a global level later on in life, if that's something that they would love to continue pursuing. Again, Joe mentioned the scholarships, and this is an older figure of $15 million in scholarships. There's so many, careers that are available in the gaming industry that did not exist years ago. I think back to when I was in college, these careers didn't exist. And these are new careers where students, young adults they're excelling, they're very successful in areas of art, audio, engineering, data, esports. The amount of careers that have been created out of this industry are just endless, and they continue to grow. Every year, I'm hearing of new careers that have come out of this market. So again, we want to get our students started as early as possible to have the skills they can continue to hone in on and grow and be successful in these areas. So many benefits. Esports is more inclusive than traditional sports. It's non-gender specific, so you can have males and females competing, on the same team. All ability levels are welcome. So if you have a student that maybe they've never played one of the games that we offer, but they can learn and they can still compete with others, and grow in that area. And additionally, students can serve a variety of roles besides playing. So you might have a student who doesn't necessarily want to, always be playing on a specific team, but they could be a manager. They could do broadcasting. There's communications, design. Again, there are endless opportunities for students on an esports team. So Joe's going to take us through some of the startup considerations.
Yeah, so think about the present, thinking what you need to do to start a program today. First thing you want to do is a technology audit. So this is primarily going to be between you and your IT department. This is going to be looking at maybe you have computer labs on station. Maybe you already had another club try something. So there's a couple Xboxes and PlayStations back in the bulk storage of the technology department. And this could even expand as far as sending out a student survey to the parents and asking like, hey, we're thinking about raising this kind of club, starting this kind of program. Would you be interested in bringing these kind of devices and seeing what devices the students have available? Because all of this cuts down on budget. So when taking a look at that, you're going to want to keep in mind the minimum technology considerations. So first of all, we're looking at hardware. So this is going to be the PCs from your computer lab, the consoles like Xboxes, PlayStations, Nintendo Switches, whatever you have available from the faculty storage, from the students who want to bring it in themselves. That's going to support your program as it grows. Next is going to be the software. So some of the game titles are going to be able to be played for free. Others you will have to purchase. And if you're going for a console-based program, you're going to have to keep in mind additional fees such as online memberships. Luckily, it doesn't stack up as much as you might think it is. It gets especially easy if you have students bring in their own consoles because they've already bought that game. They're already paying for a membership. So again, it's a very real thing to think about when you're just starting out. Next is going to be the big ticket item. That's why it's highlighted in orange, and that's going to be the network. Because even if you have all the hardware and all the software, IT might be blocking you because naturally, no one wants students to be able to come in and play video games when they're supposed to be studying. So talk with your ID department, see how you want to get around the restrictions. I know a common one that we hear is a time lock where the restrictions will apply during the class day, and then during the time where your program occurs, they lift the restrictions. So that's just one of many options that your IT team might work through in order to find out what works for you in your school. And then lastly is going to be hardware add-ons. These are going to be things that aren't strictly necessary, but it's going to be things like gaming headphones, gaming keyboards, mice, things that might enhance their experience and allow them to compete that much better or make it that much more enjoyable for them. So for more information, take a look at that QR code in the bottom of the slide. That leads directly to our IT checklist, and it's going to give you more information to have these kinds of conversations with your students, with your parents, and especially with the IT staff at your school.
Yes. All right. So now we know the technology we need to have in place. So we have to recruit. So again, we know that you're probably not going to need a whole lot to recruit students, but if you need them, we have promotional flyers that will be available to you to post in your school. Maybe you want to do an interest meeting and see how many students would be interested in the esports club in your building. We have a resource for that. Parental permission slip templates. We do offer a template that you can use as a basis because we know one of the most important parts of our programming is having parent buy-in. We want to make sure our parents know what's going on, especially that they know the safeguards that are in place for this age group to be competing online. So we want to make sure that parents are involved from the very beginning and they know what games the students are going to be playing, and then obviously what safeguards are also in place for their students. We want to make sure we stress the plug and play value of our program because we will provide the resources that your advisors need. So we know that in terms of recruiting coaches, advisors to be with students, everyone may not be video game savvy, and you may have someone that just loves students and wants to be a part of this, and that is okay. That is what we want. We want people that love students and have a passion for young adults. We can provide the background and the knowledge they need with the video game world. So the important part is, they have a passion for bringing students together, especially maybe connecting with those students who haven't connected in school before. We will provide all of those additional resources that they need to get them up to speed.
Yeah, speaking of those resources, yeah, we're going to take a look at them now. I'm going to walk through the 3 categories that we have. And the first one's going to look very familiar because we dedicated a whole section on it. That's going to be technology. That's going to be that IT checklist that we talked about, all of those requirements and common troubleshooting. We're going to have resources provided for those. You already know the drill. Have a conversation with your IT department because you hate to get everything set up and then realize there's a network blockage preventing your students from playing. We see it from a couple schools every year. So be the smart school. Next, I don't mean to timestamp anyone or anything, but I know my mom's a teacher. The last console that she played on was an Atari system. So I acknowledge that some of us don't know what all the newfangled Xboxes and PlayStation and Nintendo Switches. I'm probably speaking Greek to you right now to some extent, and that's where we provide our gaming resources. These are going to be game title descriptions, how to set up custom lobbies so you can face against the opposing school, and frequently used terms and acronyms so you can understand a little bit of what your students are saying as they play these games. So very important resources to catch you up to speed with modern day gaming. And then finally, we have our competition resources. This is going to be things like looking at our common competition format, the league spot platform guides that we're going to provide, and a few other aspects. So basically things just to keep you updated and knowledgeable on how the competition stacks up and what to expect there.
Absolutely. Interestingly, Joe, I don't think I'm from the Atari generation, but I would be like the original Nintendo generation. So I'm one of those that needs those resources. And we know that there are others out there. So again, that's why it's so important to us that we walk coaches through all of the resources, the requirements that they need so that they always feel comfortable and know that they have the support of our team. All right, we're going to talk about gaming next.
Yeah, so excited for that. We're just jumping right into the game titles, and we have a wonderful host of 4 games. You're going to hear me say this a lot in this segment probably, but all of them are great titles to start off with. These are really titles that a lot of middle school students are interested in, and we're going to start with my personal favorite, Rocket League. I like it because it's the easiest connection between video games and traditional sports because you can look at anyone and say, hey, think about Hot Wheels or RC cars and combine that with soccer. That's essentially what you have. You have a 3v3 high-powered arcade style of soccer and vehicular mayhem, and that's available on all platforms. So if you have a computer lab already set up, you're set. You just need to talk to your IT about those network restrictions. If you want to go the console route, you can do that. Like, I would be surprised if you find a modern day console that does not have Rocket League on it. And the best news is it is a free game title, so you don't have to pay anything to access it. So this is the one I recommend starting out with if you're a brand new program. Very low team requirements, very low cost requirements, and it's very adaptable to whatever technology strategy you want to use. Then we get into the other three, which I like to call the Nintendo Trio, because they're all going to be game titles that are featured exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the most popular of them, and that's going to be Super Smash Bros. This is a crossover fighting game between Nintendo characters. So you're going to see Mario, Link, Kirby, Pikachu duke it out against each other. And this is a very popular game among students. We especially see a lot of students bring in their own Switch, their own controllers, because this is one of those games where having their common equipment is going to be an important step for it. So you can still invest in Nintendo Switches yourself. You can buy the game titles yourself. You can get the online memberships yourself at school. But I heavily encourage talking with your students about it and see what they already have, because odds are they're way ahead of you on their experience with this, and that's okay. That's what we want to see when we establish this program. Next, we have Mario Kart. Everyone in my generation at least loves Mario Kart Wii, and this is the next game title in that same line. So this is actually a crossover racing game. So similar to Super Smash Bros., you're going to see not only Mario, but you're going to see Link. You're going to see, I believe, Kirby's in there nowadays, and you can even set up custom Miis to race on custom karts, and there's close to 100 tracks now, because they've been re-releasing ones from like the N64 days, from the Wii days, from all across Mario Kart's popular titles. So this is a very beloved title. It's accumulation of everything that it was and now it is. Again, available only on the Nintendo Switch for a fee. So talk to your students about if they have a Nintendo Switch, but this is going to be a 4v4 racing title, and we love seeing this title every time that it comes up. Lastly, we have something that admittedly is a little bit more niche, but don't underestimate it. It's Splatoon 3. This is going to be a paint fight game where you have 4v4 teams going up against each other through 5 different modes and trying to use paint and surprise and movement in order to overwhelm the opponent. So if you have anyone very interested in platformers or movement-based games, this is going to be the title for them, and this is going to be one that is team cohesion and based on very based on timing. It's going to come down to even the smallest of things at times. So you're going to be looking at them play their matches. Maybe it's going to be a little bit too much for you because colors and paint are flying everywhere, but it can come down to the smallest of things, and that's what makes this a great title for this spring roster. So all 4 of these titles are available to schools for only $1,000 for annual access, and that's great because the bulk of this product is here in the spring. We're going to have 3 stages of competition, which we'll talk about here in the next slides.
Absolutely. And just to stress, for $1,000, you get unlimited teams and, unlimited games. So if your students wanted to play on all 4 titles, and you're available, because Joe's going to go over the schedule in a moment, you could do that with your group of students, and you could have countless amount of teams for that access, that price. So just want to stress that's all inclusive.
Yes, thank you, Nina. But taking a look at our spring schedule, we have open spring registration already as of November 3rd. I've sent out an email. Nina's sent out an email. We've already seen schools getting students together, but we know that, fall is happening right now. Finals, midterms are going on. So don't worry if you got to take some time to get it all sorted out, because we don't start until January 16th with our preseason. But I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? We're moving our match time compared to the fall. So current schools, be aware that we are now moving to a 3:40 p.m. Eastern start time. We've talked with our advisor board and some coaches in the community. This little bit earlier of start time compared to the previous 4 p.m. Eastern is going to be a little bit more flexible for schools who get out and need that little bit of extra time in order to ensure that they can play throughout all their matches. And we're going to keep the game days the same. So that's going to be Splatoon 3 on Tuesday, Super Smash Bros. On Wednesday, and then our racing Thursdays with both Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Rocket League on that one Thursday date. Then we get into our 3 stages. First of all, we're going to have a 2-week preseason from January 16th through January 5th. This is going to be 2 matches for each competition, and this is going to allow schools who are getting in a little bit earlier, who have their teams already set up, maybe they want to get in some practices against other schools before the true competition starts. This is going to be your opportunity to do that. So show up early bird gets the worm. You're that much more experienced for the spring competition. If you can't make it to that, that's completely fine, because then our 11-week, I'll say again, 11-week regular season is going to start on January 30th and continue all throughout the semester into April 11th. And here's the important part. If you're a brand new program, if you don't know when your budget's going to be locked in and you're still getting things up to speed, registration is going to be open until the last week of that regular season. So you can come in on week 1 and play. You can come in on week 5. You can come in on week 11 for all I care and play against other schools. And that's the best thing about this flexibility right now, is that it allows you to get some amount of experience, even if you're a brand new program just starting out in the middle of March. You don't miss it just because you had to, work through logistics with administration. So please, please give it a shot, even if you're a few weeks late. So what happens if you do well enough in the regular season? You're going to move on to our 2-week playoffs. That's going to be through April 15th through on to April 26th. And if you're lucky enough, you'll get to go to our state championship LAN on Saturday, April 27th. That location is still to be determined, but we're going to bring all the finalists there for, I believe it's going to be mainly the championship match and maybe the third place match. We'll release more details as we get it locked in, but it's something to look forward to. And honestly, if you're confident enough, start talking to your administration about it and get those bus orders in, because everyone knows that sports likes to steal them first.
Absolutely. That's such a great point, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up. We are anticipating that we will have an in-person state championship. So that is super excited. So we do want you to plan ahead of time because we want your students there. So we want you to get this date on the calendar in anticipation that your team's going to be the one that makes it to the finals. So our goal with this program is to connect with every student. That's our goal with everything that we do in the world of education. But we have found that this is a way to connect with that student that we haven't traditionally been able to connect with. That student that may go off or under the radar. If you found something that can help you connect with those students, why not pursue that opportunity? So where do we hope to see this program in the future? Well, our goal is just to build out our scrimmaging for schools for the spring season and beyond. We want to see our schools, double and triple and just continue to grow, because we know that that is going to spread access to all students. And the success that we've seen with our schools that are currently competing with us, I would love to see that success continue to spread throughout the state of Michigan. We know that no matter the results, when students compete, school culture wins. Bottom line, that is the goal, to see school culture win. And we know that esports has shown us a way to increase that school culture in your buildings.
And so if you liked what you see here, if you're starting your program out and you have any questions, please email me or Nina at the emails on screen. I also have underneath my email is the admin email for our PlayFi team, esports-MHSEL-prep@playfi.com. That acronym never gets any less of a tongue twister, but that's where you can reach us if you have any questions. And if you want to get started with registration, if you don't know what to expect, scan this QR code on the right side of the screen. That's going to take you to our orientation guidebook. That's going to show you a step-by-step process on how to register. It's going to have an overview on our schedule, and it's going to have some quick links to our competition website and our resource center where the rule books, the IT checklist, and more are hosted. So please take a look at that. Email Nina and me any questions you may have. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to answer those questions for you.
Absolutely. And we want to see you and your students competing with us. Again, our goal is to see this program continue to grow and support students across the state of Michigan. So if you have any questions, as Joe stated, please reach out to us. Let us know what we can do to help support you so that we can support your students.